Good afternoon, it's David Schlotthauer here with an update on the severe weather that is now anticipated and looking very likely across the Deep South. This includes a tornado outbreak. We're expecting several strong tornadoes that could be long-tracked. We're talking about large hail and damaging winds for many areas that could impact millions and thousands of people. Now, if you are new to the YouTube channel and you like these detailed updates, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing this video with their family and friends on social media. So let's take a look at what's going on right now in the atmosphere ahead of our severe weather episode event tomorrow that I will be live streaming here on the YouTube channel. So make sure you have all notifications pushed on completely so you get all updates when I go live tomorrow. So here's a look at the satellite and we can see there's our low pressure system. We got a couple of disturbances up here, but more importantly, we have a very strong jet stream that is dipping down all the way into Nevada, into California, bringing colder temperatures and some gusty winds over the higher elevations. We're also seeing some snowfall in the higher terrain as well. So if you're doing anything outdoors, it's snowy, it's cold, it's windy, and this is going to all transpire all the way down into the Deep South here, where a pretty substantial tornado outbreak is looking very likely tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. Again, including the threat for strong, long-track tornadoes that look very likely. And so this is looking to be a very substantial weather event. So therefore, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 4 out of 5 on the severe weather index for Mississippi, for northeastern Louisiana, for southeastern Arkansas. You can see the expansive of the moderate risk. Yesterday, it was only like right here. It's gone a little larger. So they are very confident that this whole area right in here will feature strong tornadoes that are going to be long tracked in around this area. There's also a slight risk of severe weather stretching all the way across much of Louisiana into Arkansas, as well as in portions of Mayfield, Kentucky, into central Tennessee, all the way down across central Alabama into southern Alabama, like Mobile, Alabama as well. So this is a very big severe weather event that's going to be taking place. This includes a 15% chance for strong tornadoes on top of the threat for a 30% non-sig for damaging winds that are also anticipated. We're also looking at a 15% non-sig for large hail. So it's going to be about the tornadoes and the damaging winds that are really going to cause a lot of problems. And I'm very, very confident that we might even see at least one violent tornado that is EF4 or greater. So keep that in mind, okay? When you kind of look at the difference between a violent tornado and a strong tornado. A strong tornado is usually EF2 to EF3, and a violent tornado is usually EF4 and greater. So now let's time this out in great detail on the HRRR model. The date and time is above my head. Very detailed. So let's kind of roll this down hour by hour of who is going to get these severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and when they're going to start for your area. Okay, so let's kind of fast forward this all the way into Tuesday early afternoon. This is right around, say, about 1 in the afternoon for Eastern and Central time. And we can see, again, some isolated to scattered, numerous, intense, discrete supercells that look to fire up. These are prefrontal kind of showers. So this is not with a cold front at all. These are going to be surging northward in the free warm sector. We're going to have instability. We're going to have shear. We're going to have a lot going on here for these storms to really fire up. Now let's go forward all the way into, say, about 2 to 3 in the afternoon, and we can see more of these storms really begin to fire up. I mean, we have a cluster here, we have a cluster here, we have a cluster here. We just have a lot of numerous supercells that look to fire up. Okay, and then this continues all the way to about 5 to 6 p.m. across Alabama into Mississippi, also for Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee. Now, Even so, simulated composite reflectivity does not indicate any supercellular or kidney bean shaped storms. We do see a few of them here, such as a group of storms here, a group of storms here. We have a few over here in the western Tennessee Valley, and then might even see a couple and try to fire up there in Mississippi and Alabama border. So while this does not look very, very substantial as far as kidney bean shaped storms, you all have to understand this is a simulated reflectivity forecast, and this is not exactly with what's going to happen. This is kind of a guidance of what the atmosphere is capable of doing. So when you look at this, probably take this with a grain of salt, and we might end up seeing more or quite more of supercells than what this model is indeed showing. But nevertheless, widely scattered to numerous intense long-tracked thunderstorm supercellular structures are anticipated, and then it continues all the way into 7 p.m. Look at this. I mean, my goodness, we have a lot of numerous discrete supercells that fire up here again over northern Mississippi, into Tennessee, into northern Alabama. We have a pretty good, healthy group of very intense thunderstorms here over southern Alabama, just north of Mobile. Those could actually produce water spouts and tornadoes also, but the biggest tornado threat will be all across here in Mississippi and western Tennessee, where again we have the potential for long-tracked, intense, strong tornado potential out of this setup. And then this continues all the way into the overnight hours. So by 3 to 4 in the morning, it still continues over Alabama, over southwest or southeastern Louisiana into Tennessee. Moderate to heavy rain is anticipated out of this all the way through Wednesday morning, eventually it tapering off with a marginal risk for severe weather anticipated on day 3. So now, what does the NAM model show? Let's kind of roll this through. So again, of course, by about 3 to 4 in the afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms are anticipated. Again, numerous intense discrete storms capable of strong tornadoes, very large hail, probably about quarter to golf ball size is anticipated. And we're talking about the threat for 60 to 70 plus mile an hour winds, maybe even getting close to 80 with some of the more predominant type storms that fire up. But look at this, very intense of line of storms that shows up here, very broken. Here's your cold front right here, draped, and here's your prefrontal stuff. So any of the stuff here, all the way from southwestern Louisiana into, say, Mississippi, all the way into northern Alabama and Tennessee, these are what we call quasi discrete supercells. We have a lot of these going on, and with the shear that's going to be in place, these will likely rotate and they will cause a lot of problems. Another problem that we have in mind will be the amount of wind that is anticipated, not just for the deep south here, but also for the Great Lakes region. We have southerly winds that are going to be feeding in a lot of moisture here off the Gulf of Mexico, with dew points that are going to be in the mid to upper 60s, winds between 20 and 30 miles an hour at the surface. When we take a look at the lower level atmosphere by Tuesday evening into the overnight hours, look at these winds. Southwesterly winds anywhere between 50 to 60 miles an hour in the low levels of the atmosphere at 5,000 feet. Look at this. This is very energetic flow here. Here's your cold front back in here. Here's your prefrontal convergence influence that is going to be in place all the way from Louisiana into Mississippi, all the way into Tennessee. This is going to be where we have a lot of that forcing, subtle forcing for widely scattered discrete supercellular structures that are going to be in place. That topped with the upper level wind pattern that's going to be forecasted, we have quite a bit of that going on. 70 to 80 mile an hour winds in the upper levels here. We got the trough that's going to be orientated like this. Very strong speed max, somewhat removed from the subtle forcing and the prefrontal convection that's going to be draped. But nevertheless, we are going to see more than enough forcing that is going to be in place here. Not much upscale growth, but enough directional and speed shear here that we are going to see a big severe weather outbreak tomorrow, consisting of maybe a regional tornado outbreak in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas, including for Tennessee. Again, a tornado outbreak is not treated very lightly. This is treated very seriously, and this means confidence is high enough that there is going to be several tornadoes. Some of them are going to be strong and long tracked, and that's what we really got to be aware of for tomorrow. Another thing you might want to be aware of also, this is kind of a two-part series video here, is the winter side of things. In fact, if we take a look at the National Weather Service really quickly, we do have winter weather advisories issued from Nebraska into northwestern Iowa, as well as Minnesota, northern Wisconsin under winter storm warning. Yes, you've had a little bit of too many of them so far this fall season. Actually, in a few days, it's going to be meteorological winter. So, yes, this is going to be a fairly impactful system for the northern tier of the United States, including, again, that severe weather. So now timing out that snowfall for this weather system that's going to be sweeping across the area, it's kind of a two-side kind of thing that's going to happen. Severe weather to the south, cold, wintry weather to the north. That's how it's going to play out. So timing that snowfall for tonight, you can see some of it is going to start off across Rockies. We're going to be seeing some very strong winds up there, whiteout conditions, you name it. We're also going to be seeing a little bit of snow starting off in portions of Nebraska, southern South Dakota. This is going to continue all the way into, say, Tuesday morning. Look at that snow band, really very well uniform, all the way from Colorado into Minnesota, northwestern Iowa. You're looking at light to moderate snowfall, and look at that thin pink there on your screen. That indicates we're going to see some freezing rain and some sleet in the mix, with rain to the south where it's warm enough. But the snow is going to pick up in intensity by the time we go into later in the morning hours of Tuesday. So if you're doing any driving from place to place tomorrow, you're going to want to allow yourself a lot of extra time, because the snow is going to be coming down hard. We're going to see some gusty winds. Whiteout conditions are certainly a possibility with the snow band that is going to be galloping across the northern tier of the U.S., including the Great Lakes region. This is going to continue throughout your day on Tuesday into Tuesday evening, so heavy snowfall is anticipated for northernmost Wisconsin. If you're in central Iowa, we're looking at light to moderate snowfall there, most likely on the lighter side as that system moves towards your northeast and towards the east. And then, of course, by Wednesday early morning, there's your cold front sweeping across St. Louis, Missouri into central Illinois. That's going to have a lot of wind ahead of it. All ahead of this is where we're seeing the prefrontal stuff, severe weather to the south, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, and then that's going to be moving all off into the rest of the Great Lakes, and the snowfall is going to also be departing the region, but colder air is going to be in its wake. We're looking at temperatures in the single digits in portions of the high plains, the northern high plains that is, by Wednesday morning and into Thursday morning also. So keep that in mind. You're going to really want to bundle up when you're going out and about, okay? So now, how much snowfall are you anticipated? Well, let's take a look at that. So latest models do indicate that the snow is going to be fairly predominant here if you're in the if you're in portions of the Rockies, the higher elevations. Just take note of that. If you're in the lower elevations, you may see very little to no snow, while in the higher elevations, you might pick up maybe a foot, maybe 2 to 3 feet in some areas. So if you're prone to the heavy snowfall in the mountains, you're going to be seeing some very heavy snow for your area. But if you are like in Denver, Colorado, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow is anticipated. And if you are in Minnesota and Wisconsin, 3 to maybe 8 inches of snowfall is likely, with some areas up here in northern Wisconsin that might end up seeing about a foot of snowfall. So very impactful system. I'm telling you, folks, it's going to be windy. It's going to be a mess out there. Speaking of wind, let's take a look at those wind gusts really quickly here, because they are going to be a really big problem for a lot of you that don't like the wind at all. So wind gust swath forecast all the way from Oklahoma. Let's do the central first. For the Rockies, for the higher elevations, wind gusts between 50 and 70 miles an hour. Wind gusts in the 50s in Oklahoma and Missouri. Boys, seeing some wind damages, possible 40s and 50s for those wind gusts in Texas, all the way into Tennessee. The upper Great Lakes, upper Great Lakes and the upper Midwest, we are talking about wind gusts that could reach 50 to maybe close to 60 miles an hour. My goodness, winds are going to be a big deal there for central and eastern Tennessee. Some of the mountainous terrain here, some of the hills here in eastern Tennessee might even see wind gusts over 60 miles an hour perhaps. Wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles an hour over the northeastern tier of the United States. So we're talking about a very, very windy system. Not just the severe weather or the heavy snowfall and the rain with this, but the wind will be something noticeable for everyone that doesn't like the wind at all. And that's again why the National Weather Service here has issued, or they will be issuing wind advisory products, I'm sure, across much of the central U.S. probably by tonight or by tomorrow. I'm surprised they haven't even issued it yet. They actually should soon, given the model agreement that we are seeing. So again, we're really keeping an eye on the severe weather, folks. I mean, I've said it way too many times. I'm really concerned about this. We are talking about tornadoes. Some of them are strong and long-tracked. We're talking about large hail and damaging winds. And then, of course, we're watching the heavy snowfall and gusty winds and colder temperatures that will follow that system. As matters of fact, here's a look at those air temperatures for Wednesday morning. My goodness, temperatures are going to be in the teens and single digits up across the high plains. Also for Montana and for Wyoming, going to be pretty cold out there for Wednesday morning. So really, really bundle up because you're going to need it, and the heavy coats and everything. Because those wind chills will make it even feel colder. Temperatures might feel like -5 to -10 degrees in across the northern plains, including the Rocky Mountains. So really bundle things up for Wednesday morning, because the cold air is coming and it's gonna last for quite some time. That's gonna do it with this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure you share, like, and subscribe, and check out my Facebook Sacramento Weather Center group. There's a link in the description below this video with all my social medias too, including my Weather Force Discord server. Be sure to check that out too and join today. We welcome every one of you to be part of that Discord server. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with you more tomorrow with a live stream on the severe weather that is anticipated. All right?